I do want to talk a little bit about WWE Raw tonight before we go into our all out review. One thing that you guys need to know is that WWE does have a huge return planned for WWE Raw tonight. It is September 9th, 2024, and WWE has a lot of things that are happening, and we're going to talk about it all right now. WWE has a legend returning, and it is Bret Hart. They announced it this weekend that Bret Hart is returning to WWE television. The rumor is that he is going to be in a segment with Gunther. This is questionable. This is something that I'm having a little bit hard time dealing with. And the reason why is because I'm looking at Bret Hart, who has a connection to CM Punk, and I'm wondering why not use Bret Hart to push the Drew McIntyre CM Punk story forward. I have no problem with Bret Hart and Gunther being in a segment, but I'm trying to understand why that would even be the best option, considering that the option of Drew and Punk is on the table. But there's a couple things that you guys need to know about Bret Hart returning to WWE Raw. Bret Hart was not a fan of Vince McMahon. Bret Hart did not like Vince McMahon. Bret Hart was not a fan of Vince McMahon. Bret Hart has openly he's been pretty open about the fact that he doesn't really like the WWE. Now it seems like Triple H is turning the tide when it comes to some of these broken relationships. And this new vision that WWE has actually led to some major changes, which we're going to talk about, because WWE is signing more Legends deals, and that's actually really important. But I cannot understand for the life of me why WWE and why they would bring in Bret Hart without the intention of Bret Hart being in a segment without Punk. Like, I don't know. I guess the only other way that I can mention this, or the only other way I can understand this, is if maybe CM Punk and Gunther are in the segment together. That's it. But if they're not doing that, if CM Punk and Gunther are not in the segment together, this is problematic. But CM Punk really shouldn't be in a segment with Gunther tonight, because if you look at it from excuse me, if you look at it from the booking, obviously the story with Drew and Punk is going to Bad Blood. And obviously that match should probably be a Hell in a Cell match. So it doesn't really make sense for Bret Hart to be involved in Gunther, but it would make a lot more sense for him to be involved in Punk and Drew. There is that connection there. And actually, I don't know if Bret Hart would be willing to take a bump. And I'm not advocating for him to take a bump, because I don't really know what his health is like these days. But it would be pretty damn sick, if honestly, it would be pretty damn sick if Drew McIntyre hit a Claymore on him or beat the hell out of him, right? Like that would help add a little bit more layers to the CM Punk feud. And then that's going to really cause CM Punk to want Hell in a Cell. And that's really going to cause WWE to even have a bigger build for Bad Blood. This is WWE's best feud. I mean, this is WWE's best feud, and it's so silly fighting over a bracelet and all these different things. But then you add in Bret Hart, who is, near and dear to the heart of CM Punk. The reality is WWE should be pushing that story forward. And like I said, I don't know if Bret Hart could take a bump. I don't know what his health conditions are. I'm not a doctor. I don't, Google these things actively, but I do think as WWE prepares for Bad Blood, I think they should really have Bret Hart involved in that segment. And there's a lot of ways for WWE to do it. There's a lot of ways for WWE to do this in a way that makes sense. And I would love to see that. Now, let's talk about those Legends deals, because this is something that I'm very excited about with WWE. And then we will move on to discuss AEW All Out. Because as you guys know, that's what this show is all about. We're live. And the best part about these live streams is we get to talk about so much. So if you guys aren't watching live Monday through Friday, you guys definitely should. Don't forget that in the slightest, live on youtube.com/Ango. So with that being said, let's talk about WWE signing those Legends contracts, because a lot of WWE Legends are signing new deals with the company. And WWE is essentially doing something that they should have been doing a long time ago. And that is protecting the legacy and respecting the legacy of their performers who are no longer with them. And I think this is, for some reason, it becomes such a controversial topic. But I think for WWE, the reality is this. If you're doing a Legends deal with a performer and they're retired, you have the ability to make money off them. But if you're a legend and you're signing a Legends deal with the WWE, you have the benefit of getting paid from WWE in the ways that they choose to license your IP. So for the WWE, you sign people to Legends deals, you bring wrestlers back into the video games, you do action figures again, you do t-shirts and hoodies and hats and the championship belts. By the way, WWE's been doing this, and they do these limited time edition belts honoring some of these legends who have once held, you know, the US championship or whatever. WWE could very well make a lot of money off of these legends, but these legends very well can get paid from it. And I think it's a cool thing to see that WWE, yes, they're signing people to Legends deals, but the main thing that's important here is that WWE is repairing relationships. And I feel like Vince McMahon was so heartless, and Vince McMahon never cared about this. Vince McMahon didn't really care about this, but then you see Triple H rebuilding the relationship with Bruno Sammartino, and that was years and years ago. And then eventually you see Triple H is doing it now when Vince McMahon is gone, and he's doing it on a faster level. I mean, Jesse Ventura was one that we were talking about before. This is a good thing for WWE, but it's a good thing for the legends who have worked for the WWE, because one of the things that we're going to talk about on today's live stream is the violence and the risk and the stuff that people go through being a performer in professional wrestling. Some of these guys and girls will never, ever, ever be able to live a normal life again because of the concussions and because of some of the injuries that they've suffered. So I feel like when WWE signs people for a health,
right hand cam super chatted $5.
I think
SmackDown will not go 3 hours.
I'll get to that super chat in a minute, Cam. Thank you. But I think when WWE signs these Legends deals, there's just a little bit more of a safety net for these people. And it shows that WWE is committed to like working with them long term and being with them and supporting them long term. I don't know how WWE would get to the point where when they do these, like, I don't know. I'm starting to have a brain fart while I'm live, and that sucks. But I guess my main point is this. The Legends deals are great. WWE is getting to the point where they're signing people to Legends deals. They're respecting them. They're giving them an opportunity to make money. It's two parties win when it comes to this. You got relationships being rebuilt. And the number one thing I want to say, and it's probably the most important thing that's like so huge, honest to God, I think WWE needs to get to the point where they induct people into the Hall of Fame before they die. Because we just saw Psycho Sid, he passed away. So many people pull up in the WWE, they do these crazy things, and then they get on bad terms with the WWE, or they get released, or something happens, they pass away. And like, it's just such a cutthroat business for the longest time. WWE is changing that reputation, and that's huge. WWE has never really been the nice guys in the business. That's the reality. Triple H is being the nice guy in the business, and you're starting to see things are actively changing. Bret Hart is back. He's a legend, and I'm excited to see what he does on WWE Raw, but also I'm excited to see some of these other legends who are signing deals to come back to WWE, whether it's appearances, merchandise, whatever it may be. I'm excited about that because this is not the same company as it was before. People ask me, why do you love the WWE? Guys, the WWE is a multi-billion-dollar business and a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's a global phenomenon. They have TV partners all over the world. They're producing great content. Literally, one of the worst things about WWE was how they conducted business, and it's not by any means perfect today, but we are seeing the way that they're changing under the new ownership, and that is literally what matters.